And so to a mummies aspect that did not get celebrated at all last weekend. And there are plenty of them. This is Wendy Zukerman.
For 7,000 years, we humans have mummified our dead. Yes, the ancient cultures of Chile, Egypt, India, Mesopotamia and the Pacific Islands all disemboweled, dried and dissected their corpses. Elsewhere, the natural environment has inadvertently turned bodies into mummies. The dry and arid climate around Granada in the south of Spain, for example, has left the local graveyard littered with mummified corpses. And that's where we are today. No, not in the graveyard, but in Granada, at the Parque de las Ciencias, where mummies are populating the Turanian environment. Elisa Wilkinson, project manager of the park's newest exhibition, Mummies, Witnesses of the Past, is ready to show us around.
Right now we're in a room filled with some very gory-looking mummies that are all crouched. Where are these from and how did they come to look that way?
These mummies are from the Inca period. They're all natural mummifications. They're not induced like the Egyptians. And when they buried them, they would put them in a fetal position and then bound them with cloths and then put them in caves. And so due to the dryness and the arid atmosphere of the area, well, they were naturally mummified. And that's why they're in their position. They bury them like that.
How old are the mummies that we're looking at the moment?
Approximately from about 8,000 years old. So they're before the Egyptian mummies. They're one of the oldest in the world.
Well, now you also have, there's around 200 pieces in this exhibition,
yes.
And you have two very modern ones from Granada. Shall we go have a look at them?
Okay.
Wow.
So this is the first one. It's a baby, it's an infant. I mean, it's not even a year old. They estimate that about 70% of the bodies in the cemetery here in Granada, due to our climate, are actually mummified.
And the two children that we're looking at now, how old are they?
They estimated it's from approximately the 1940s to where they were found, and obviously what they're wearing. I mean, it's a relatively modern dress.
Wow, and so from perhaps some of the most modern mummies, in this museum you also have one of the oldest mummies in the world. It's rivaling Otzi.
Yes.
And it was found in Granada?
Yes, well, he's the second oldest mummy in Europe. It's Galera, which is a village here in Granada. It's about an hour and a half drive from Granada. And he's about 500 years younger than Otzi.
And what have we learnt about the culture in Granada all those years ago from the study of this mummy?
Well, they were actually quite healthy. The food, what they ate, was all obviously natural, but they had quite a balanced diet even in those days. We also know that, for example, this mummy in particular, he was some form of craftsman because of the bones, the bone structures, how they are, and how worn the bones are. We know that he used his hands a lot when he worked. We know that he died from a stomach infection, because when they actually did the analysis of the tissue in the stomach, they found that it was absolutely empty, so that induces everyone to think that it was sort of like some form of stomach infection. He was very tall for the time. He was approximately 165, 167, which is, a very decent height for that age.
Does the mummy in Granada have a name?
They call him Galera. They call him just Galera because that's where he was found. I think that from the very beginning, they started calling him Galera, 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 and he's just stuck with the name,
Now, speaking of names, some of the mummies here have some very interesting names from where they were discovered. We're now looking at one that has a very open mouth, that brown copper skin. It looks like it's part of the scream, that painting.
Yeah. They call him the crier. When all the commissioners from different museums came to actually place their pieces in the showcases, we were talking with them, and I realised that every one of them had a name or a nickname for their mummies. And I found this, like the crier. Okay, well, what is this? And one of them said, listen, we're with these mummies that are quite gruesome, so we have to lighten up the atmosphere a bit. So each one of them, we give them nicknames, which I found quite amazing, quite curious, actually.
Now, this exhibition has been put together in the Parque de las Ciencias, and it obviously involved a huge amount of collaboration from the University of Granada and also Italy, Egypt, everything. Did you find that through this collaboration, were scientists able to learn more about certain topics?
Well, actually, one of the areas, the area which is dedicated to Egypt, and we have Egyptian heads there that come from the University of Turin. One of the heads has like a small piece of gold in the mouth region. And the curator, when she was placing the head, she was saying, through the x-rays, we know that he's got a coin in his mouth. But then, in the showcase next to it, there was the curator from a museum in Leon. And she was placing mummified animals in the showcase. And she was overhearing us, and she went, well, hang on a minute. She said, because we've got a head in our museum. We did the x-ray, we thought it was a coin, but when we opened him up, it was actually a gold tongue. So when you get back, look at your x-rays, because although it looks like a gold coin, it may be a gold tongue. So amazing, just one person from Italy, another person from a city here in Spain, that they just meet up because they're collaborating in the same exhibition, and one gives the information like that, just offhand, and the other one, woman from Turin was just, whoa, well, I'm getting back, I'm going to have a look at it, this and that. So actually amazing, and they're just small stories like that, which has been an absolute delight when we produce this exhibition.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Lisa Wilkinson taking Wendy Zukerman and us around the mummy exhibition in Granada.